Nergigante is surely the death of most hunters and huntresses towards the end of the story and by extension, the end of High Ring. Today, in this day viewing of my new series, How to Hunt, where we look at how to hunt these various monsters in Monster Hunter, obviously, we look at the do's and don'ts of a Mr. Bone Boy. First off, a little introduction, yes. Nergigante is an elder dragon. Elder, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Elder dragon that eats other elder dragons, which is basically his only meaning for existing in the story, as opposed to unlocking the things that he supposedly snacks on. Right? Some don't know or understand the logic behind that system, but anyway, Nergigante earned the nickname Bone Boy, at least for me, on me and my friend's Discord, where we started nicknaming a bunch of the monsters because we had nothing better to do that night. At least for us, he earned this nickname from its giant, massive, thick horns. And if you missed them, don't worry, he has a habit of displaying them halfway inside your anus, so you can get a nice look and feel eventually. But besides the meaty horns that didn't skip their workout this morning, Nergigante doesn't brandish any type of element, though I hesitate to say he does not have any status, as many who face him apparently experience what is known as saltiness in their taste of their tongues. His gimmick, as stated by the name Bone Boy, come on people, keep up with me here, is that he constantly regenerates bones in multiple sections of his body, notably his arms, tail, back, and wings. Kind of his back and head, but you get the point. Considering he's an elder dragon, you would think, what's the major point? Don't leave the video, and no, I will not leave. That was a good joke, damn it. The point is the spikes. They have two forms. In white form, they are still breakable, and can be cut with relative ease, and the fact that you're not losing too much sharpness. Almost like a hot knife through skin. I mean butter. The second form is when they go full Tyrone, still breakable, but will make you bounce without mind's eye, which is a skill for those of you that don't know, or a stunning weapon like a hammer or hunting horn. Even still, your sharpness will pay the bill, and so will you when you try to sharpen it in a minute. With one more last bad pun, more on the spikes later, as the major point of them isn't quite felt until there's enough to make a developer cry. And that's about it, with the only other notable thing here being he has a craving for cheese, since most of his most damaging attacks, are full of tracking and hit detection problems alike. So I know it's not technically in the lore or anything, but I feel like Nerg has a problem getting it up in bed, if you know what I mean, because his attitude towards everything would beg such, and beg any concerned soul to give him Viagra. Bone Boy, to say the least, is aggressive. More than Tigrex, more than the Pickle, although they're both not in the game yet, technically, so I guess I can't really say that. I'm saying from past experience in previous games. He is constantly in your personal bubble, and will take advantage of your lack of comfort in very painful ways. Have any of you ever heard the term Combo King? I'm sure it's a familiar term to most people that play RPG games or beat-em-up hack-em slashes, but still, Nerg is a combo god when unseasoned to his liking. His dish generally begins with him starting out with a swipe or two, showing you he's not just here to be the next big Hollywood star. He'll follow this up, or indeed start with, sometimes, a headbutt to the ground or drag his tail or arm into and across the ground and your face, which covers around 180 degrees from where it starts. The best way this can be avoided is by simply backing up or risking it, and diving between and under his arm before he starts it. By diving, I mean evading. Now, provided you are looking at the sky right now and can see the looming shadow of death, and you have no options left. You have, actually, two options. Get up and let him pound you into the ground like a nail, or don't, and sit there and drink a tea or water, IRL. Nerg has combos, yes, but a lot of them can be mediated, and in fact just completely avoided, just by relaxing on the floor for a little bit, as the fist just went through your sternum and doesn't hurt you. As a little crash course here for people that don't know Monster Hunter or have not noticed this, you have an invulnerability period where you cannot be touched, unlike in church where the monsters can do nothing to you. Most of the time, it lasts just as long as you need it to not die, especially for Nergigante. So just don't touch your controller buttons at all and stay there. Got all that? Good. Now here comes the point that I was speaking of earlier. When Bone Boy figures out that you're not going to be like his last mate, he'll get mad and go full domestic abuser on you and start to grow those spikes we spoke of earlier. When this happens, most of the previous attacks we spoke of course, the combo from the tail swipe, the drag, and the headbutt, have either increased range or a shockwave added for added displeasure. This is dealable for most of the time until two signature moves rear their ugly head like an affair in office. The air ground pound and dive bomb. Because many players die to this, I'm going to tell you how to avoid each one after explaining the amount of cheddar they have in them. I suppose going in order as listed here, beginning with the air ground pound. This attack is when Nerg flaps into the air for about 3 to 4 seconds before crashing back down and smashing his fist into the ground. Now, provided you're still among the living and not pushed 6 or 8 feet under right now, I advise do not guard this attack, unless you're using Lance, because even if you survive, which is still highly unlikely, he can follow it up with a reach that is quicker than his normal swipe and does 3 times as much damage. And since we're not trying to get bad habits like blocking, so you don't try to do this when he's tempered and you get one shot, what you need to do is dip like you just got out of daycare without dying of malaria and go as quickly straight under him as possible and continue this motion past him as he first jumps into the air and flaps. Why not away, the now dead boy asked. Because if he has black spikes, which generally he does, he'll send a shockwave of bones and a cone in front of him. Haven't actually gotten the right degrees yet for that attack. And then he'll pull his arm into you, and with a bunch of spikes, which shoot forward. That's generally going to hit you if you're right in front of him. This has 3 procs, if you've counted. It is a smash to the ground, it is a pound further into the ground, which shoots out spikes, and then a pull upward that shoots out spikes forward. And each can knock you on your ass and awaiting death faster than you can say, oops. The second attack is a blessing and a curse, as he removes all of his spikes off of his body. However, they sometimes have the nasty habit of removing into you, which generally results in a pincushion death or desire for one. Do not try and evade to the left or right, because this, without being in range to count the pixels on his toenails, will result in death, as the tracking for this attack is almost 90 degrees on each side, almost, from the facing direction of his head. Although this is his signature move, it can be blocked for a moderate amount of damage and a broken arm. However, it is advised that you sheathe your weapon, look away from the creature, not your camera, just your character, and run like hell for a moment before pressing X to Superman and dive away. I believe it's X. I might have a different controller button layout than you. This is the best way to avoid being hit by this attack and to be set up to punish him afterwards, provided you look away before attempting to dive, as I've said. Otherwise, give my regards to the ferryman for me. Now, before someone replies, just go ranged, he's easy. Someone I know said a very similar thing before eating dirt and bone, as a semi with horns pounced on them from halfway across the area. Being at a range is not an easy, safe route for him, and he will chase you, and will trip you, and will set you up with all of his hops and stagger you. And that's about it. Nothing much more to comment on, and oh, yes, all Elder Dragons are immune to placeable traps. This is things like the pitfall traps and shock traps that you and your cat can place. However, he is not immune to the traps that exist like the frogs in every area, or the flash pods and things like that that you have access to. I don't believe sonic bombs work on him, however dung pods do as well, if in case you need him to leave for some reason. Anyway, flash pods are especially useful against this guy. Use them, abuse them. Take 10 flash bugs with you to make more. That's a good way to keep him in one place, confused, and very punishable. Weapons and builds I would recommend if struggling are as follows. High defense armor. Now, I understand that a lot of people will not be able to get access to the full amount of armor spears you can put on your armor at this time, but any high defense skills you can get as well would be good. Mind's Eye skill, or any weapon that can get temporary Mind's Eye, like Hunting Horn and Charge Blade. Agitator skill, which can come from his armor or from a gem, although I believe you can only get level 3 with the gem. And either lightning, dragon, element weapons, with elemental attack up or just normal attack up if possible. As for weapons, I advise kind of with the comfortability thing going here, as if you are afraid to get touched by the monster, lance, gun lance, insect glaive, light bow gun. Although with those lance and gun lance, you're going to be touched, but you're just going to be able to protect yourself, unlike the Pope. Anyway, now if you're ready to rumble, hammer, charge blade, bow, dual blades, and longsword are my suggestions there. Note, this does not mean that you shouldn't/can't use any weapons that isn't listed on this video. Every weapon in the game can be used to fight every monster effectively, provided that it is in the hands of a skilled player. These are just weapons I advise for people that are struggling, that might need a specific weapon that is better or more favorable for certain encounters. Obviously, a quicker weapon is going to be better for an encounter where something moves a lot, or a slower weapon is going to be better for something that you can punish easier. It's just, these are a recommendation. You can use any weapon you like, but if you would like to have an easier time or would like to have a different style of play against something, I advise these certain weapons. With that out of the way, comment your thoughts below, subscribe and press that notification bell to stay posted. Check out my weekend streams where no one is safe and all will bow. I mean, we can have a great time. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you later. Hopefully, all of you later. Dragon God 00 soaring out.